No, that'll work. All right. Hi, Kelly. Let me know if you guys can hear me. I am trying this new software. If it works, it's gonna be super rad. If it doesn't, well, I tried. But I need to know if you guys can hear me okay. Kimberly is feeling grounded and she's been looking forward to this live. And you can hear me. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, great. There's obviously a major delay. I'm still really trying to figure this out. But hi, Renee. But like I said, if it works, it's gonna be rad. So I hope you guys enjoyed those pretty pictures of the cosmos, courtesy of NASA themselves. At least they're good for something, right? So I'm going to remove them. Now it's just me. The video is not the best. I have a webcam on its way. Perfect. You guys can all hear me. Welcome. My webcam should be here by our October 2nd. So this first month, it's going to be a little grainy. Hopefully it's not glitchy. I did get better internet. And then after this, it should look a lot better. So welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining me on this new adventure. I appreciate your support so much. I literally can't do this without you, and I'm just blown away at how many people signed up. Okay. Kelly says that the audio is a slight bit off. Otherwise, it's all good. Okay, I'm going to give you the cosmos for a second, and I'm going to go grab a microphone and see if that's a little bit better. So just give me 1 second here. And you guys should be able to see and hear me now. Let me know if this audio is better or worse, or if this microphone is even working. And while you guys do that, I'm gonna light some rosemary and some lavender. I want to wait until you guys tell me if you can hear me okay. Sounds better to me. Okay, perfect. Okay, so hi everybody. Thank you. Like I said, we're in the process of figuring this out, and once I know what I'm doing, then I'll be good. So I want everybody to just kind of take a moment here. I'm going to play some sound bowls, and I want you to cast a protective, sounds good to me. Hi, Heather. A protective circle. So there's a couple different ways that you can do this, and we're also going to talk about why we're doing this. So we're working together right now for this full moon in its waning phase to release and purge and come into alignment. And that's ritual work. And so we want to make sure that we are protecting our own energy while still being able to um, add our energy together for the collective power of manifestation. So to do this, you really want to make sure that you are protected and your space is protected. So what I'm going to do, and if you don't have any of these things, you can do it during the sound bowls, and you can use the sound and you can visualize light as well. So I'll walk you through that then. But what I'm going to use is I'm going to just burn some lavender and rosemary for protection. And I'm just going to kind of do it around me in like a protective barrier and envision a sacred space where my energy is safe. And let me turn off these words here. Yet I'm still working with the collective. So the way I kind of envision it is like a circle of little circles. Okay, so like each one of us is our own circle, but we're next to the next circle, and we are all connected because, you know, humanity is connected and all that jazz. We are all one. So I'm going to go ahead and burn this, and then I'm also going to use some selenite, and just the same kind of way. It's kind of almost like smudging the air, but with a crystal. And selenite is really great for that. I have it a selenite wand, so it pretty much is exactly what it sounds like. Like you're casting a witch's circle around you in a protective manner. So technology has been a lot better to me lately. We're doing good, but still want to make sure. I'll let that burn over here. And then I'm going to start playing some sound bowls. I want you to just kind of take this time to quiet your mind. We're playing a root chakra sound bowl and a third eye. So at first, we're going to start with the root chakra, and I really want you to envision yourself tapping into that Virgo energy that we have so prevalent in the sky right now, that very mundane, tangible energy of Earth, Mother Earth, and really use the sound waves and visualization to physically connect to her, whether you are picturing a cord of light going down into her core or roots growing into her, whatever you're called to do. The first sound that you hear is going to be the root chakra. It's going to fade out and it's going to fade up, and I want you to kind of envision the sound and the energy moving up your spine. And then it's going to transition into a third eye bowl where we're going to really be tapping into that expansive spiritual Pisces energy, and really opening up so we can see past the illusions that are ready to shatter right now. And then I'm going to end with a crown chakra bowl that'll help open you up to the cosmic realm for all these downloads to come in and through. So take a moment, close your eyes, and try to figure this out. Okay, a couple here. Can you guys hear me now? I'm learning. All right. So I moved up to the third eye, but I'm going to revisit the crown for a second and do the transition again because I'm not sure. I mean, I'm going to visit the root for a second and do the transition again because I'm not sure what happened there. So I'm learning. I'm just going to go back down. Got to connect with Mama Earth again. Virgo was like, you're not done. All right. I have to put these bowls away because I don't trust myself around them. So I will be right back and we're going to get into the slides. So in the meantime, get yourself situated. You're going to need a journal, a pen, a spare piece of paper, and then there's two different options. You can either have a glass of water that we're going to use at the end in like a ritualistic way. So like don't drink it all right now. um, or a fire, and we're gonna burn that piece of paper that we were talking about. So it's up to you. If you don't really want to be setting things on fire, you can use some water, which is more ideal for Pisces, but I really want to burn something right now with all this Mars square going on. So I'll be right back. I guess we're gonna have to do it like this. Okay. All right. Can you hear me now? We can see the fish, but not hear you. Okay. I put myself in the corner. Can you hear me? Okay. You should be able to see me in the corner and hear me. And see the fish behind me. I'm gonna go over to YouTube and check really quick. I see myself there. Okay. Yep. Okay, perfect. And then, by the way, I just want to let everybody know that um, Kelly, her name on here is Phoenix Smith. She is going to be helping me out and kind of like moderating through the chat. So if you ask any questions and I don't see them, she's going to help remind me and keep me on track and all that. So I wish I had known that you had to have the little square up, because I would have maybe moved the pictures a little bit different, but I'm going to be covering up some of the slides with my face. But we learn as we go, and that's literally what I'm doing here. So everybody should also have their birth chart with them. We're going to be going specifically through our charts and looking to see not only what this Pisces Virgo energy is all about, but also what houses are activated in our chart, so we can kind of see where this balance is needed, where this sun and moon opposition is at, and where we're being asked to give a little. And then we're going to do a little ritual at the end to help that balance come into alignment. So make sure Allie gets them. Okay, perfect. Thank you. And yes, if you have any questions throughout this, thanks, Josie. I love you, Josie. Thank you for being here. Josie keeps me grounded and I help connect her to the stars. She's my little partner in crime. I appreciate you guys so much. So yeah, I'm definitely trying something new. This software was like my third one that I tried. I was trying all week to find ways to share my screen, and I was trying to use this like gamer software. First of all, if you've followed me for a while, you know I am like bad with technology and computers, and I was like trying to learn this like crazy gaming software, and I was losing my mind. But I found this. You have to pay for it, but it's brilliant. So we like it. We like it a lot. Okay. So as you should have that spare piece of paper with you right now. So actually, we're going to do this in our journal. So everybody should have a journal. This is mine. And I've always collected journals. Saving tab, content is being shared. Okay, I think we're good. I've always like my whole life had journals. I would start them and I would get like a couple pages in, and then I would just never do it again because I would feel like such a failure if I didn't do it like every day, and I would just give it up. Since I started following the moons religiously, but I mean I hate that word, but you know what I'm saying, like not missing a moon. I've never missed one, and this journal is almost full, and I use it for full moon and new moon work, and that's it. And then in between, it sits over on my altar with whatever crystals I choose to really work with that moon, and it sits with those crystals until the next moon, and it's like a little ritual that I do. Kelly's journal has a wind spirit on it. That's amazing. Mine is not vegan. I've had it for so long that it was before I would have bought in something different. But now I have a different mindset. So it's definitely made out of leather. But I've had it for so long, and it has practically my entire awakening throughout this whole thing. And it is so great to look back and see all the things I've manifested, like um, getting off of drugs, getting my life together, like just basic things like being able to wake up at a decent hour and do like regular muggle things, self-esteem, you know what I mean? There's just like little things that you can look back and be like, wow, I totally am a completely different person. So it's really great to have it all in one place. I still do rituals where I will burn it or do something like that to release or to manifest, but that's separate. I still like to look back on my journeys. So I keep records of it. So I definitely recommend that you do that too. So throughout this whole discussion, things are going to trigger you. You're going to resonate with something that I said, or you're going to be like, wow, yes, it's happening for me right now. Oh, wow, yes, I definitely need that. Oh, this is a message for me. You'll even maybe feel it in your body. I feel like chills. You know what I mean? It just resonates. It's like, oh, I needed to hear that. Oh, this is for me. Any words, key phrases, anything throughout this whole discussion that you hear, I want you to write down. Just write it down. It doesn't matter what we're going to do at the end, but it's going to come into play later. So make sure that you are writing things down. So that's pretty much what this slide says. So we're going to go to the next one. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to do this. Okay. Oh, it covers it up. Dang it. All right. Well, man, I wish I had known this. Oh, well, it is what it is. Virgo rules my first house, and my Mars is there, and my rising, and this moon is legit on my ascendant. So I need to chill on the perfectionism. But let's get into Pisces energy. I'm going to do my best to read this. So Pisces rules the 12th house. It, it's the final sign of the zodiac and humanity's final quest. This is where the magic happens. It's the house of spirituality, the subconscious, sleep, dreams, the unseen, that which is hidden or taboo, the unintegrated shadow, the collective unconscious, repressed emotions, breakdowns, hidden enemies, secrets, fears, confinement, which we all are feeling right now, our inner sanctuary and our need to withdraw from the world. This is the house of one's own undoing and self destruction, where we can tap into our magic and be in service of a greater cause or escape the world altogether, snapping into victim mode or pure darkness, where we are literally consumed by our shadow. Pisces' ruling planet is Neptune, the planet of imagination, psychic sensitivity, confusion, illusion, fears, the arts, and spirituality. So, full moons bring, we're going to talk about this in the next slide, but I just want to say it here really quick. Full moons bring, you're going to read it to us anyway. Yeah, I'm going to read it to you. Full moons bring a culmination and a release. And it's a culmination and reward for the work done since the previous new moon in that same sign. So 6 months ago, we had a new moon in Pisces. Whether you know it or not, whether you are physically taking advantage of it and trying to co-create and manifest with the cosmos or not, you were setting things into motion then that are now coming to fruition. So you're going to have a big culmination for those intentions. And then you're also going to have a big release that's getting you ready for the next lunation, which is a new moon in the opposite sign in Virgo, where you're going to have a new beginning. Something must give here, so something must be birthed here. So all the things that I just discussed, things probably stood out to you. Something here has come to the forefront. And this is the basic general energy that Pisces is bringing up for you right now to release. And then also, I guarantee you're having a profound awakening experience right now as well, because Pisces really rules the spiritual realm. So we're being asked to see, and we're also being asked to release. So go to the next slide. I have a lot of slides here, guys. So y'all know me, like I can't not ramble on. And so I tried the slide thing to try to keep me like focused and like in line here and hopefully like give you visual aid instead of just like my hands going like this. Um, and it ended up being just so long with all the things I wanted to do. So the giveaway we're going to do tomorrow on Instagram, I'm just going to do a video or a live and do the drawing then, and post it for everybody to see, because I don't think we're going to have time for that. But I'm sure you guys want to know this stuff. So I have this astrology book that I love. I got like 15 years ago for $1. And it has all these quotes in there that like correspond to the different signs. And this is the one that it had for Pisces. And I just really think it is absolutely perfect as to where we are right now as a collective, experiencing this Piscean energy. So it says, the easiest thing of all is to deceive oneself. For what a man wishes, he usually believes to be true. So I'm just want to make sure you guys can still hear me. If you guys can't, let me know, because my chat has a major delay. I'm figuring that out right now. So just let me know if you guys can't hear me. I'm switching back and forth and I'm trying. So what this moon is really asking us to do is to release a lot of the illusions that we have set upon ourselves. So Pisces likes to often live in a fantasy land of their own creation. And while they rule the vast unseen spiritual realm and subconscious and shadow and all the things we're going to get into later that we really do need to dive into, and that is where truth resides, it's also ruled by Neptune, which is very much the planet of illusions and delusions and just like naivete. I think that's how you pronounce that. Y'all know I pronounce everything wrong. It's like my thing. So, oh, watch me try to read some Latin later when we get to one of these slides. That's gonna be funny. So, right now, this moon is shining light into our darkness and exposing some shit. And we can either do one of two things. We can use this as a chance to purge this Piscean energy of illusion so that we can see truth, or we will completely dive into the Piscean escapism, stick our heads in the sand, and really double down on this fantasy illusion that we have, and then legit be destroyed by it. So, um, we're going to talk about positive Piscean traits that are coming to a culmination right now and that I'm sure you're feeling and you should very much be tapping into. And then also challenging manifestations that are shadow traits and things that you could very much be working to release right now. So the positive Piscean traits are, they're artistic and very kind, sympathetic, intuitive, they're visionary, extremely sensitive, adaptable, and receptive. So these are the things that we really want to be channeling in through this Piscean light. When you have a full moon, our sun and moon are in opposition. So the sun is shining its light on that surface of the moon, and that energy is reflecting back at us. And it's reflecting back at us both the light and the dark, which is why you have a culmination and a release. You're given the chance to culminate this energy that you have been hopefully manifesting for the past 6 months since the new moon, and get some sort of reward for your effort. But to truly get that and implement it later and be able to really harness its power, and really get into alignment and co-create, you have to sacrifice something, and you have to sacrifice this shadow aspects and these things that you're ready to let go of, things that are standing in your way. Right here are a lot of shadow traits and challenging manifestations that we all have, particularly with this Mars square we have going on right now. It is really bringing a lot of these to the surface. And I know many of us are being triggered. I am. And I'm seeing myself and other people, and I'm just like, it's time to kick back, you know? So now is a chance to release some of these things. I'm gonna go to the next slide. So you guys know I always like to talk about the mundane aspect as well. So in the world, Pisces rules healers and spiritual folk and the overall spiritual realm. So right now you're probably having a light shine on this world, this community that we're all in. And you're kind of seeing who's doing the work and who isn't. And so it might be a time to very much purge from a lot of these belief systems that are very Piscean and false, well, not false light, but very much like a religion. So Pisces, the age of Pisces was the age of the guru. It was the age of the spiritual folk. It was the age of the healer. It was the age of, I'm trying to say this without sounding like a judgmental jerk, but you know, not everybody is who they say they are. And we're really going to be talking a lot about false light when we get into some of these later slides. So maybe I'll just leave it there for now. So let me just read the rest of this. So Pisces in the world rules healers, spiritual folk, and the spiritual realm, all things unseen or intangible. Confinement, hospitals, boarding schools, prisons, jails, mental hospitals, and places where people are either incarcerated or elect to stay in order to be alone. So it would also very much rule where we are right now in lockdown. So you can and a lot of the, hold on, look over here. A lot of what happened during, so Pisces season kicked this off. I don't know if you got, I remember Pisces season very, very well in February and March when all these lockdowns came into place, when Pisces made us all a little crazy for a minute there, very delusional, very much in our fears. The dark factions, which we're going to get into in a second, were very much doing their thing and breeding in the shadows. And now this full moon is shining a light on some of that and bringing a culmination to it. So we can expect to see a lot of this confinement scenario come up again. And we're seeing, you know, people like Gavin Newsom talk about how the second lockdown is going to be crazier than before. We're seeing things happen in Australia and other places. Yeah, it was boom and it shut down. Pisces rules my seventh house, and so I always get a little cuckoo during Pisces season, and I lost it because I've just seen what the future holds for us a little bit before it gets good. And so, and I forgot that it's a process. So I was just like, oh, the New World Order's here. You know what I mean? And I snapped, but I forgot that it happens in stages, and you know people aren't going to wake up overnight. And so when they weren't, I got very much in the Piscean just victim, like, oh my God, it's over. You know what I mean? And we really need to realize that there's more to the story. There's just more to the story. So you were freaking out that time. Yeah, Pisces season, I lost my shit. Like, I was like, we need to buy a gun. We need to do this. We got to go live off grid. We got to get out of LA. Like, lots of things. And I thought had to happen now, you know? And now I kind of see that it's a longer timeline in play. And that's how they get people to not see what's happening. If it all happened overnight, people would have woke up to it too quick. So they had to do it slowly. Pisces season 2020 was wild. Yeah, I lost it. I it was it was intense. It was intense. But it's because those Pisces downloads were coming through from the other side about the urgency of this. And I bet you all remember, because I know for a fact you do, because I've talked to all of you, that was when I started doing lives. Josie started branching out. Stephen as well. Everybody started being like feeling that call to action where it's like, now or never. Are we going to do this? Are we not? And that's why those downloads were coming through above the darkness and of these truths, you know? And of course, we don't always integrate them well. It takes us a while because we're seeing so much. So aren't always going to react right, you know? I overreact. It's kind of my thing. You know what I mean? So I just got to know that about myself. It is one of my shadow traits that I'm aware of and working on. And that's really all you can ask of yourself. Most people don't even know that about themselves. Leap year, too. Yeah. Let me finish reading this right here. So I talked about incarcerated or elect to stay. Okay. So it also rules the oil industry. So if you remember, oil dropped in prices once the lockdown went down, and that had a lot to do with Pisces season as well. And then our favorite, conspiracy, subversion, and underground societies and secret occult organizations, as well as the laws of compassion. So we're going to get into this a lot later when we talk about the shadow and dragon and magic and all of this that has a lot to do with both Pisces and Alpha Draconis, which falls opposite Pisces in Virgo, which we're going to be talking about later, and how it just is what it is. There's no good or bad astrology. There's usually a higher octave and a lower octave manifestation. And if you're not usually aware of what's playing out, we tend to fall victim to the lower octave, which is why it's so beneficial to know what's going on. So you could be like, oh, this is a chance to work with this energy. This is a chance to learn this lesson. This is a chance to let this go. This is a chance to manifest this into my reality. This is where astrology comes into play for us. So let me go to the next slide. It seems like these slides are working, but I wish I had put the words different places. Okay. So full moons bring both a culmination and a period of release. This Pisces moon has ushered in a profound psychic awakening. However, in order for these new gifts to come online, these new truths to be integrated and understood, and this next level of awakening to fully be embarked upon, a purge is needed, and illusions must be shattered. This is a Piscean culmination and release, making way for a Virgo new beginning. So we kind of already went over that already, but in here. Okay. So we're going to talk about the Pisces Virgo axis of polarity. So I made these slides and then I was doing my makeup and I realized I did not even talk about Virgo energy too much. But, we're going to be talking about that in 2 weeks. The focus really right now is finding the balance between those two polarities within your chart. But it's really the focus on releasing a lot from this Piscean house so that we can birth the Virgo house in 2 weeks. So this lunation falls at 10 degrees of Pisces. So get your chart out and find Pisces right now. We're going to be going over the houses, and I have some slides to help us do this. So hopefully you have little house numbers there. If you guys need help, you can message in the chat, and you can send me a screenshot on Instagram if you need help finding your things. But please have the numbers there. Like CoStar isn't going to show the house numbers, and a lot of other apps and websites, for some reason, they don't show them on the thing, and it really needs to show the numbers. Also, I'm going to have it broken down in one of these slides by rising sign, but it's using whole sign calculation, which is the house calculation that I use. And if you use something like Placidus, you might have a sign like Pisces taking up 2 houses. I'm a little OCD. I have my Virgo tendencies. I like things orderly and symmetrical, and I use whole sign. So the couple of slides forward that are going to break that down is going to be through whole sign. So if your chart says something different, it's probably because it's Placidus. So This lunation falls at 10 degrees of Pisces. And because this is a full moon, falls exactly opposite our sun at 10 degrees of Virgo, activating the Virgo Pisces axis of polarity. If you guys have followed me for a while, you've heard me say that we do not have 12 signs that are completely opposite signs, because that's not how the world works. We're going to be talking a lot about polarities later and about balance and alignment and unity, which is the goal here, not a polarization, which is what a lot of the spiritual community really wants from you. They either want you polarized dark or polarized light, and it feeds both sides. You guys hear me talk a lot about The Dark Crystal. That's one of my favorite movies. I'm gonna link a link to it in Patreon. I highly recommend that everybody watch it. I think it does a really good job of showing how the mirror of false light versus inverted darkness, and how true dark and light work tandem with each other, like our sun and moon do, and how we need both to survive because we are both. But we'll get into that in a little bit. So, like I said, we have 6 axes of polarities, not 12 signs. So the Pisces Virgo axis is the axis of service. So Virgo is mundane, practical, tangible, and logical service, like here in the real world. Like, how can I be of service and make a difference here and see it and physically know that it was done and like do it with my hands? Versus Pisces, which is the spiritual, emotional, psychic, sympathetic service. So, like spiritual healers and things like that. So, a lot of people in this realm are very polarized in this Piscean aspect, and that's great. We need that energy activated, but if you are polarized in that dynamic, you're really not grounding any of that into the real world where it can really be of service. So right now you're being asked to maybe let go of some of these spacey tendencies and find room to manifest some new Virgo organization or planning or tangible actions taken in the next 2 weeks. So we're being asked to step out of our self-made fantasy land, out of illusion and into the real world, because right now that is where the work must be done. Um, so now let's look at our charts and see our personal axis of activation. So I'm going to go over to the chat. Does everybody know where their axis is? So I'm a Virgo rising, so mine Virgo falls in my first house and Pisces falls in my 7th. So in addition to this Virgo tangible earth grounded energy and the Piscean spacey energy that I'm feeling right now, I'm really feeling that in my first house of the self versus my 7th house of partnerships, and we're going to get into a little bit more about what that means here in a little bit. And then if you guys have, don't worry if your house is empty. I heard somebody did message earlier and I haven't gotten a chance to get back to any of the comments. So everybody has every sign in their chart, and everybody has a certain area of their life ruled by a sign. So there's really no such thing as an empty house. Yes, there's no planetary influence perhaps in that house. My 7th house of Pisces is empty. I don't have anything there other than my descendant, which is opposite your rising sign. It's one of the 4 angles. What was I saying? So it's empty, but Pisces still rules my 7th house of relationships. So every time Pisces comes around, a new moon, a full moon, the focus is on my relationships versus myself. So it definitely helps to know what areas of life are ruled, so you know it's not just Pisces energy, it's Pisces energy and relationship energy for me in particular. Check and see if anybody sent me any screenshots. We are good. Okay, so everybody knows what's up. All right, we're going to go to the next slide. So if this is your personal polarity, okay, your personal polarity seeking balance and integration by rising sign. Okay, so I have it broken down by the houses that are activated, but it would be flip-flop. So if you're a Pisces rising, your Pisces would rule your first house and Virgo would rule your 7th. If you're a Virgo rising, Virgo would rule your first house and Pisces would rule your 7th. Okay. and then it goes on from there. So Aries and Libra are the 12th and the 6th house. Taurus and Scorpio are the 11th and the 5th house. Gemini and Sagittarius are the 10th and the 4th house. Cancer and Capricorn are the 9th and the 3rd house. And Leo and Aquarius are the 8th and the 2nd house. And then, like I said, it would be flip-flopped if your rising sign is the other one. So, and like I said earlier, it's also by whole sign. So if you prefer past Placidus and that's how you learned, just look and see the other houses that are activated. Whole sign's a lot easier, by the way. Okay, let me just flip over here. Are you guys good? 2nd and 8th. My daughter Audrey, who's here with me, has Pisces and Mars and Uranus both in the 5th house. Cool. So she's probably super creative. I'm sure she is just super creative. Virgo rising with Pluto in the 1st house. Awesome. I'm a Virgo rising as well. Okay, so let's look and see what these houses, these axis, personal axes activate for us. So if you are a Pisces rising or a Virgo rising, it's going to be your 1st and your 7th house. I made a little list here because I'm going to get lost once I start going through this. It's like not. You guys can start reading that slide. Give me a second here. Well, whatever. I don't really have the thing with me. Anyway, if your 1st and your 7th house are activated, you are feeling the pull, the tug of war, and the need for balance and the need for purge and rebirth in the axis that rules yourself, your personality, your behaviors, the masks that we wear, our vitality and individuality versus our partnerships, our relationships, contracts, and open enemies. If it's your 12th and your 6th house, you're feeling that in your areas that rule spirituality, the subconscious mind, sleep, the unseen, fears, secrets, and the shadow, versus work, daily tasks, health, the body, diet, service, and regular muggle duties, like the regular things we have to do. So those are the houses that are actually ruled by Pisces and Virgo. If this is you, you're very much feeling this, and this is very much your moon, and you very much want to make sure that you are working with it. If your 11th and 5th house is activated, let me go over here. I can't read this. Then it's going to be your hopes and your wishes, goals, ideals, humanitarianism, associates, friends, and money made by career versus your lovers, children, creativity, personal expression, pleasure, objects of affection, hobbies, talents, and the need for attention. And then the other 3 axes are the 10th and 4th. So this is ruled by Capricorn and Cancer normally. So it's the father and the mother archetypes. So we're really feeling our career, our public standing, our reputation. This also brings up father issues, your mission, purpose, and how you interact with authority, as well as your own authority, versus your home, like your physical home, also like your ancestral home, your ancestry, lineage, early life trauma, parents, usually the mother. So a lot of maternal, like generational trauma and ancestral healing from like that lineage might come up. Intuition and also the subconscious mind. So I heard somebody say that their 3rd house was ruled by Virgo or Pisces. I don't have the chat in front of me right now, but if that's you, then you're really feeling this in the areas that are ruled by Sagittarius and Gemini normally. So this is the higher mind, philosophical exploration, like you really want to learn stuff. Religion, these are our belief systems. So if this is you, it would be a really great time to break free from a lot of like dogmatic fixed belief systems. Higher education, it's a great time to either learn something or unlearn something. The media, travel, and then ethics versus our conscious, logical, analytical mind. communication, our thinking process, how we learn and interpret information, siblings, our neighbors, and our immediate environment. And then finally, if this is your eighth and second, which I think Kelly said that it was, you're really feeling this in the areas that are ruled by Scorpio and Taurus. So you're feeling the death, rebirth, and transformation, reproduction and sex, your money mixing with other people's money, big business. This is also a great time to study the occult, magic, and spirituality, or break free from systems within those that maybe you had believed in before, and now you can see a little differently. Your perception has changed, and you're ready to release some of these. Versus your possessions, values, resources, financial security, how you make money, the material and non-material resources, and your overall self-worth. So, like I said, jot different things down. Here's a couple more slides that I found online that other people made that might help you. So if you find the house ruled by Pisces here on the side, and then some things might pop up here that it might be a little bit different than mine. I'm not sure. Maybe not. I also have the chart over here. I'm going to leave it there for a second if you guys want to see if anything stands out to you, because we're going to be using all the stuff we're writing down later for a balancing ritual. This is my third. This moon was 2 degrees away from my ascendant. Yeah, my ascendant's at 7 degrees. Phew. Yes to everything you said about the first and seventh. Yeah, dude, me too, for sure. This makes sense. Pisces sun and rising. Perfect. Accurate. Yo. I like these slides because it helps me say all the things that I want to say. Because otherwise I like will watch it later and I'll be like, oh, I should have said this or I should have said this. So this just keeps me on track, and then we can go from there. So guys, take a look at that for a second. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. All right, so trying to say, before we get into the weird stuff and the pick a card and the ritual, I want to just first really briefly talk about the other astrological influences that we have going on right now, because they are definitely playing a part in what it is that we're being asked to do here. So now that we have an idea of how this Pisces Virgo polarity is activating our charts, let's take a quick look at the other astrological influences we are experiencing at the moment. So I kind of want to show the chart. Let me go over these first. Okay. So right now we have Uranus in a trine to the sun, and at the time of the moon, he was in a sextile with our moon as well. And this transit brings very creative, exciting change that we're like just ready to make. We're like, all right, what do I need to do? Let's do it. Downloads are flowing in. Uranus is the planet of awakening, and a trine or sextile are harmonious aspects. It's free flowing energy. So these planets are working together, bringing energy, bringing in this exciting need for change and rebellion, often the need to be authentically true to you, who you are, and new brilliant ideas as to how to do this. It's a great time for new ventures, new experiences, new realms of study, such as metaphysical practices like this Patreon, astrology, or anything that progresses your awakening forward. Your emotional life will also be activated strongly by this lunation, which brings awakening and changes around your inner reality, early life trauma, lineage, and home. So we're being shown and awakened to some truths from long before that are ready to be integrated, so that those events or situations or whatever it may be no longer hold any sort of power over us, and we get to reclaim those aspects of ourselves. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more later. So we also have Mercury trine Saturn right now. So this brings very much this mental Virgo energy. It helps us connect a lot of the dots that Uranus is showing us in like tangible ways. So Virgo is really good at like making a PowerPoint presentation and piecing all the things that were in my mind together here so that I can then express it to you in a clear and concise way without going off on a bunch of tangents and not making all the points I want to make. Like that's Virgo and Saturn. It really helps us be able to piece all the puzzle pieces together and maybe kind of make sense of our reality. Our mind is legit on lock right now. It's ready to purge illusions and see the facts so we can accurately navigate what's to come. We have a keen attention to detail right now, able to concentrate and get things done. I might have actually not spelled anything wrong in this whole presentation, and that has everything to do with this Mercury trine Saturn, because that is not normal for me. But once I say that, I'm going to see something. So just wait. Taking lots of notes. Perfect. Okay. And then this is going to be saved if you guys can't stay. I know it's late. My kids don't go to bed till late, and I just can't focus with them awake. This video, the first one we're doing here the day after the full moon, and for full moons, I do want to do them the day after, because the day of is that big culmination that we were talking about, where a lot of those ahas come in and those rewards come through. And then the day after is when we really start the release. So we really want to work together for that release point. So I'll probably be doing the full moon videos about the day after the moon. And then the new moons will be a couple of days prior, because so it gives you time to watch if you want to watch them later, and also just because I like my moons so I can do my own stuff. I need to really make sure that I'm working with these energies as well, and I just can't focus if I'm also walking everybody. So it'll be a couple of days before, and also I'm going to be doing a post on Patreon tomorrow with the schedule of the rest of the posts for this month as well. So in addition to those transits that we just talked about, we also have Venus, Saturn, and Mars all working together through a cardinal T-square action. So I'm going to show the chart, but I'm just going to talk about it because we're already kind of been doing this for a while, and I'm not really sure if I can. Do you guys want to see the chart? I'm going to read this. If you want me to show you on the chart, let me know and I can open that program. Okay, so right now, Venus is opposite Saturn. Venus is in Cancer and Saturn is in Capricorn. Venus has made its opposition to the whole Capricorn. What does Rick call it? Rick calls it the Capricorn Council. I love it. I was calling it Capricorn Chaos, but that's just not good because we don't really want chaos. So I like his Capricorn Council because it's the three big daddies there in Capricorn, and they're serving up some shit. So Venus has made her opposition to Jupiter, she's made her opposition to Pluto, and now she's making her opposition to Saturn. This brings another polarity activated. So go look and see where Cancer and Capricorn fall in your chart as well. This is where you're feeling this opposition. This brings conflict between what brings us joy and the duties that we have. We may be lacking empathy and tenderness. However, this helps us step out of the emotional, illusionary Piscean waters long enough to see what needs to be released. This transit triggers our shadow and it mirrors it to us through our loved ones. This brings major twin flame activations. And it triggers us so that we build the foundations accurately. She says she's okay with either. Okay. So Venus is opposite Saturn. It's also square Mars. So Mars is over here in Aries. And this brings intense, passionate physical attraction for a while. For while we will be at odds, we will also be pulled to each other like magnets. This is to deal up repressed shadow and trigger us into working through it and transmuting it. Saturn is also square Mars right now. And this is asking us to just like pump our brakes. Mars wants to go, go, go. He's slowed down finally. He's slowed down. He's practically not moving. And he's about to start his retrograde. On the 9th, we're going to be talking about that when we do our astro forecast video. I'll post the date tomorrow. I can't remember. But we're going to be talking a lot about Mars retrograde. This month is insane. I'm really glad that I started Patreon for this, because this is when we really start to need to know what's going on astrologically so that we can pick that higher octave and work with this energy and not against it, because it will just be like banging your head up against a brick wall and you're not going to fucking get anywhere. And you're supposed to be building more brick walls so that you can have a nice foundation, so that you have a place to live and do all the stuff that you love to do. Okay, so those are the major astrological transits that we have going on right now. And what's next? Okay, so finally, oh, that fits nice there. Okay, so let me move some stuff, because I'm gonna need to do some explaining and some talking about and using some props and explanations to make sense. Okay. Okay. So in addition to this Venus, or not Venus, what am I talking about? The Sun Moon opposition in Pisces and Virgo, the transits that we just talked about, which probably also added some things to your list. We also have some special cosmic starseed alignments that are pretty prevalent, and we were not pretty prevalent, like the most prevalent, like the most important points to talk about when it comes to truly what we are here to do are activated right now. We have the sun perfectly, not perfectly, it's at 10 degrees, and Alpha Draconis is at 7 degrees of Virgo. So the sun and moon are in alignment with Alpha Draconis, the main star in the Draco star system, the dragon, which, let me just read this and then I'll explain that. We also have this moon square Aldebaran and Antares, which are known as royal fixed stars. They also associate to Archangel Michael. And I think Antares is Archangel, I can't remember, I have it written down, but they resonate to the Archangel stars. And then we also have Mars at 27 degrees of Aries, perfectly aligned with the Andromeda vertex, which is the black hole at the center of the Andromeda galaxy. So first we're going to talk about that before we get into the Draco and Archangel energy. So like I said, we have, let me show you on the chart. We have Mars perfectly aligned with a black hole at the center of the Andromeda galaxy. So if you look over here to the right, oh, this is backwards, to the right, you'll see a picture of the Milky Way as seen here from Earth. If you didn't have a light pollution and you live in a great place, you probably also have like maybe Alaska. I think Dozy maybe has seen this. I haven't. I live in LA. And then you see a picture of Andromeda. So Andromeda is the nearest galaxy to Earth, and both Andromeda and the Milky Way are hurling at each other as fast as humanly possible, or not even humanly possible, as fast as cosmically possible, and they are going to collide in 4.5 billion years. So this is a picture of what it is supposedly going to look like when these two galaxies collide. We live Earth. Milky Way is a spiral, and us here on Earth, we live on the outer arm of the Orion arm of the Milky Way galaxy. So we'll definitely be all up in that little chaos there on the bottom picture. The fate of the Earth and our solar system is not known from this collection. The downloads that I have received about Andromeda's star system, and particularly the Andromeda vertex, which aligns perfectly with my Jupiter, is that it is a twin flame activation point. So if you have these stars or this point, if you have planets anywhere between um, around 27 degrees of Aries or 27 degrees of Libra, they're in alignment with the black hole at the center of the Andromeda vertex, and you are funneling in these codes of cosmic partnership. We are galactic partners. Our fates are forever intertwined with the Andromeda galaxy, and they very much have a stake in what it is that's going on here, and they're very much funneling in codes for us to do whatever it is we need to do before that happens. um, so these are flowing in, and they're flowing in through the twin flame collective. When you look at the mythology of Andromeda, it is all about the twin flame partnership between her and Perseus and the healing of the repressed feminine energy and ancestral karma, and then the lineage that's attached to that. So when you look at the mythology, Andromeda was chained to a rock by her parents, um, and sacrificed to the sea serpent, to Poseidon, the god Poseidon, as a sacrifice, because otherwise their whole kingdom was going to be destroyed, because her mother had a big mouth and was saying that her and her daughter were prettier than all the gods, and it pissed the gods off, and they were like, yo, um, that's not cool. And she was like, take my daughter. So she was sacrificed, and due to her mother's actions. And she was left there chained on that rock. Perseus was on his way back from severing the Gorgon's head, Medusa's head. And Medusa's story is just as tragic when we look at the same god pantheon at Poseidon. So Medusa was a beautiful woman, and she was walking past Athena's temple one day, and Poseidon saw her and was like, yo, she's hot. I want her. And he just started chasing her into the temple, and she was like, yo, dude, what's up? And then he raped her. And Athena came in and was like, whoa, why are you guys doing this in my temple? That's fucked up. And what did she do? She cursed Medusa and turned her into a Gorgon. So it really showed into a monster. They outcasted her. They shunned her, just like we do very much today with the victims over the perpetrators. Um, Her sacrifice, her history, is what did eventually free Andromeda, because the Gorgon's severed head is what Perseus then used to defeat the sea serpent. So it shows how one serpent defeats the other, and how it's dealing with this very deep, dark shadow of Medusa's story, and the darkness that it entails, and reclaiming that power, and using that to change the storyline, break those generational curses, and do something different. So this is very much coming up for us right now, and it very much is coming up around the dark and the hidden and the shadow. And a lot of it does have to do with our ancestry. I've been talking with a lot of people lately who I am close with, who are healers, who are very much purging things like this out of their family line. And man, if you signed up for this, like, I'm here for you. This is a hard mission that we're working through, and we're doing the best we can. So we talked about this. Let me see what my next slide is. Okay, so let's do this. This mythology is intense. I love it. Yeah, and that's just like a synopsis. Like, um, there was other things I wanted to say, but we're gonna have to get on with this. So now we're gonna be talking about our Draco alignment and these fixed stars. I'm gonna try to explain this download that I got the other night. If you guys have followed me for a while, you know, like, I'm not going to talk too much, or really a little bit, but I'm not going to focus on races of extraterrestrials. I'm not going to try to tell you any sort of historical story of who did what to whom and how shit went, because nobody fucking knows. And if somebody is trying to tell you one way or another, they just fucking read it out of a book, or they've been channeled from something that they don't really even understand. And it could very well be one of these false entities that we are going to be talking about here. And you just can't trust it. So what do you do, right? When I feel myself getting pulled too much into a lot of that, I always bring myself back. And you guys have heard me say this a bunch of times, and you're going to hear me say it a lot more because it's legit the only thing that helps me. I always bring myself back to the basic hermetic principle of as above, so below. If I look up there, the answers are there. Astrology is what has helped me put together my life. It's the only thing that makes sense. I really do believe that those stars are us and it's a reflection of us. So if I can find myself out there and ground it back down to here, then I can discern truth. So when thinking about, okay, let's first talk about where these stars are. I'm going to make my screen big here. Okay. So this, I tried to make a graphic. I have a couple graphic things in here, but it doesn't really explain it well enough. So I'm going to use a couple of different things here. So within, so without. Yes, Kelly. Okay. So this is the music box. So if it starts playing music, like, we'll just have to wait for it to finish. But this is a depiction of the Earth. This is the Earth, this is its axis, this is its bottom axis, and this is the ecliptic, the ecliptic. It's the zodiac, right? Okay, so Draco, the dragon, especially when you're thinking about as above, so below, do you really want to know what's as above? It's the fucking dragon. You know where the dragon is? It circles the celestial pole. It literally guards the point of stillness and the exit point out of this rotation that we call Earth. It guards the treasure. It guards the door to the outer realm. So the dragon pretty much takes up, there's a star almost in every single degree of the zodiac, because it coils around the pole. Okay, so the main star is Alpha Draconis, and it is at 7 degrees of Virgo, and it is very much aligned with this moon right now. Now we also have what's known as the 4 royal fixed stars, which are okay, we're going to get into it in a second, and I need this to explain my point. Hold on. Okay, so we have the 4 royal fixed stars, and they were called the royal fixed stars not only because they're fixed stars like all stars, but they also housed the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac. They used to house Leo, Aquarius. Wow, I'm totally spacing right now. Fucking Taurus and Scorpio out. Fixed stars take a really long time to move. They transit 1 degree every 72 years. So really for us, looking up at the sky, it doesn't really seem like they move much, but over a length of time, they have moved. They've all transited out of those fixed signs and into mutable signs. The last star to do this was Regulus, which is the heart of the lion. Libra and Scorpio. It's Taurus and Scorpio. I just like totally spaced. I don't know where I went right now, but I figured it out. So Regulus, the heart of the lion, was at 29 degrees for a very, very long time of Leo, and it eventually moved into a Virgo, and that was the final star to do that. And it was that patriarchal lion. We talked about this a lot during the Lionsgate posts. That patriarchal lion being softened by that service to self, Virgo, which is really when we see a lot of this like double down on this like right to rule king mentality. So those stars do not correspond to any important dates. Okay, they don't correspond to the seasons. They don't correspond to the directions. They are a false cross. Okay, so hold on. You're gonna see where I'm going with this. Give me a second. This was what I got woken up with at fucking 3 a.m. the other night, and I was like, oh my god, this is so good. And I just like scribbled down a bunch of stuff, and like for a second everything made sense. So I'm going to use this. Okay, here's Earth. Okay, so the cardinal axis falls at 0 degrees of Aries and 0 degrees of Libra. Okay, it aligns perfectly with my north and south node, and it also aligns perfectly with the super galactic center. So we were talking earlier about the Milky Way. The Milky Way is a galaxy that revolves around a black hole that is situated at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. Okay, so we have a black hole that falls at the end degree. Oh, this is backwards. This is weird for me. I'm seeing myself backwards. I have to figure out how to point at stuff. Okay, so we have a black hole that falls at the end degrees of Sagittarius, around the beginning degrees of Capricorn, falling on the cardinal axis. Capricorn is a cardinal sign, which falls opposite Cancer, our other cardinal sign. And then we have a black hole that falls at 0. This is so backwards. Okay. That falls at 0 degrees of Libra, which falls on this cardinal axis. So the cardinal axis aligns with the seasons. This is spring, summer, winter, and autumn. Okay. Those fixed stars don't align with the seasons. They don't align with cardinal points. They fall in the middle of signs. They've moved. They're not of unity. Okay, so what we do have here is those black holes, and I actually never hear anybody mentioning that black holes align with the cardinal axis. So when we were talking earlier about the Milky Way and Andromeda, here, our sun, and all of the other star systems within the Milky Way galaxy, so the Pleiades, Draco, Sirius, Arcturus, whatever it may be, they all rotate around the black hole that is right here in, oh my God, this is so hard to point. Right here in Sagittarius, okay? We rotate around it, and all the stars near us rotate around it. And then we have other galaxies near us. So us, Andromeda, our twin, and 27 other galaxies in our immediate universe all revolve around this point in Libra, which aligns with my south node and my sun. So I've really been drawn a lot to this point. We also got a picture of this black hole back in 2019. And when I talk to anybody who has this point in their chart, this M87, the Super Galactic Center, 2019 was a very profound year for them. Just like when we discover, and we didn't even know, black holes were theoretical before that. We knew we were rotating around something, but we weren't positive it was a black hole. It was theoretical physics. And when we got that black hole that picture of the black hole in 2019, that is when it was truly discovered. So if you look at like when Uranus was discovered, right after that we have the Age of Enlightenment. It also has a lot to do with like the Renaissance period, which is what Uranus is all about. It's about that awakening. And what do black holes have to do with? Unity. If that black hole was not there, our solar system wouldn't be there. We would have nothing to rotate. None of us would be able to be held together. This is what holds us all together. So if we are not paying attention to this axis, but instead of false axis, then we're not in alignment with the seasons, we're not in alignment with nature, and we're not in alignment with the cosmos. So I'm going to draw something else. Give me 1 second. So here's Earth. I think I did actually make a graphic. Let me just do it here really quick. Okay, so Southern Cross. So the thing with the dragon is it's usually paired with the cross. So we're going to be looking at a lot of symbolism here in a second. I'm going to show you different things. And I'm going to show you how even those who demonize the serpent still use it for their own benefits. And it's usually paired with the cross because as above, so below. You need to access all these aspects of the self to be able to integrate them. So if you look at this again, the way this is outlined is you either have a cross here made with those 4 royal fixed stars that associate with the archangels. We're going to talk about false light here in a second. That its goal is it's the polarized aspect of the reptilian consciousness, the service to self, right? These entities, these service to self reptilian entities, whatever they may manifest as, feed off of fears. They do get you to give over your energy, but they are much more upfront about it. And it is a lot more to do with like feeding off of like lower chakra entity energies, while the false light matrix takes your spiritual energy as well. It gets you to give it away. You don't search for your own light. So we have a cardinal cross here with the black holes, or we have one with these false middlemen, right? So when you look up at the sky, I'm going to turn this light off because it's too bright for this. Okay, so think of this as the earth, right? And I picture it because it's a square, right? And it's coming up to a pole, up to the dragon. I picture it as a octahedron. So this is an 8-sided octahedron. It's a platonic solid. And I thought to myself at 3 a.m., I was like, I know the dragon is above us. It encircles our celestial northern pole. We have this cardinal axis, and we also have this false light axis. That dragon manifests as 2 different things as well, the ascended serpent and the descending dragon, light and dark, good and evil. We're going to get into this in a second. And then I thought, holy shit, do you know what's at the South Pole? It's the Southern Cross. So this is what we have here, is we have the dragon governing the North Pole, our way out, our northern celestial pole. And in the southern hemisphere, we have the Southern Cross. So these beings, you really see this play out in a lot of movies. So the Dark Crystal I talk about a lot. It really shows how when they have beings that are of the light and of the dark, and they are partnered with one another. So anytime one dies, whether it is of the dark or of the light, other partner dies as well. They're connected. This happened in the beginning when the whole entity fractured, and it fractured into these polarized beings. Now, both of these beings benefit from this polarization because they only exist because of it, including these archangel entities or these middlemen, Poseidon, any sort of pantheon. You can pick it across the board. It doesn't need to just be Christianity based. They benefit from this polarization because you are either feeding them and funneling your light through them, and you're not tapping into your own light, or you're in the darkness, you're in your shadow, and you're just prime picking to be siphoned by the dark entities. They work with each other. Like they both need you to be polarized. Once you realize that both of these are within you and you start to balance these and reclaim both of these, your own angelic essence, you don't need the middleman. You are this light. Once you reclaim that for yourself and you also reclaim your magic and your power and you understand that you are of both, then you become whole. Now, another thing, when you look at black holes, they are both light and dark. So black, a lot of my downloads for my starseed charts, like people are like, what books did you read? I'm like, dude, I have a shelf full of like what starseed books we considered, and like maybe a couple things sparked things here or there for me, but like a lot of my stuff came through watching documentaries about black holes or space or mythology and like weird esoteric stuff, and really always coming back to the as above so below. Like, look at it, all of it, it's all important. The fact that the dragon guards the celestial fucking pole out of here, it literally guards the bolt, which is why it has been demonized yet used by all the people who fucking demonize it. Okay, so the black hole is the absence of light. If you get deep enough in there, it is condensed so much so that light cannot survive, while it's also shooting like subatomic particles and photons and all kinds of energy directly out of its core down here to us and holding us all together. It's everything. Without it, it's not us. And it's also the end result of our sun, of the light, right? So we have more things here. So let me see. This is fire. Okay. Oh, damn it. I covered it up. The most important one. Oh, okay. So let me see. So they're fractured of the whole. This is like all my nonsense over here. We need to find balance, the cardinal axis. The ascended serpent. I did that. The Southern Cross. Okay. So if you look at, let me go to the next one. All right. Oh, I also wanted to show you this. So dragons and serpent mythology is so widespread. It's on literally every single continent across the country, across the world. Every single continent has stories and legends as far back as they can go of serpents and dragons. This is the map and it's everywhere. Hold on. How do you hide this? Okay. All those little red things are dragons, and you see how they're everywhere. Every island, it's so hard to do this in backwards. Every continent, everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. Even in Alaska, Josie. Even in Alaska. Okay. So Josie's from Alaska. So if you see here, okay, there, we'll do it like that. These are very, 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 very old artifacts, especially the reptilian one on the side that looks like a reptilian humanoid breast feeding a infant. This is a Sumerian artifact that they can't technically date, but has been dated to very, very old. I think it's even over 8,000 years old. I've seen people date that. I'm always leery to date anything archaeologically speaking, unless like there's some very good evidence, because I really think the timeline is just so off. But the one in the middle is more of like a Western dragon that we would really see here in the West, which is really where it has been demonized the most. And we're just told to fear this serpent aspect of ourselves. We're going to get into the brain, the human brain here in a little bit, and I'm going to show how you literally are a fucking reptile, and we all are, and we all were, and we still are very much dealing with this aspect of the self. And if we don't integrate it will consume us. So the final picture over here is a picture of a cross and a dragon. So we see this a lot. We see this in the next slide as well. And we usually see it in realms where the dragon is the bad guy. You know what I mean? Like we see it in the Vatican. We're going to get into a little bit what the Vatican actually means in Latin. We see it with like knights. I wrote this. Okay, I was doing my makeup and this came through and I was like, write that down or you're going to forget to say it. The truth is that it's always been the knight versus the dragon, right? It's like a battle to dominate. But when you look at the coat of arms of these royalty, if you look at any sort of these entities that are combating the dragon, they usually have it either on their flag, on their coat of arms, or their last name, or it's connected to them some way. They are cutting you off from it, but funneling it in for themselves, and that is when it inverts and it's used purely for evil. So a lot of the only reference point we have for it is of the dark because it was occulted and hidden and used for those reasons and kept only for those people. So what I wrote here, I was doing my makeup and this came to me. We are both the knight and the dragon. And when those two are united, we become the wizard. But the question is, how will you use this power? So once these are united, right? As above, so below. The Southern Cross, the dragon, the cardinal axis of unity with those black holes that are both light and dark. Once we are activated with all of this, and we know this is all us and all whole, our power comes online. Now, dark occult factions use Kundalini power as well. They just invert it and they use it in dark rituals. So the question is, once you have this, do you fall into a service to others paradigm and use this for the benefit of all? Or are you consumed by the shadow, by the darkness, and you let it devour you? That's where um, that's where the question lies. So I kind of made this little graphic over here. Let me see. How do you, it just sucks. I hope you guys can see it. So that's kind of like what came to me when I thought of the, as brought it back around to as above, so below, where are the stars and what does this mean? How can I understand this matrix? And this is what I saw. It's that like cube fixed energy. The cross is that like, it's Saturn, right? Rick Levine talks about this a lot. He talks about how we fall through the gates of Saturn, which also correlates to Satan. And it's that structure, that foundation, and it's the four directions of the third dimension, and it is the matrix, right? And right now, to really become co-creators and exit out of this, we have to connect all these points. We have to connect the wise dragon. We have to connect the firm foundation of the Southern Cross. We have to really anchor into those black holes and not these false those black holes that, what are they about? They're about unity and oneness and holding us all together, right? Okay, I'm also gonna say this. I wasn't gonna, but I'm gonna say it. Okay, so let me just go to my thing. You guys see what this is for right now? Okay, so in the spiritual community and in the woke fucking new age UFO, starseed, alien community, you hear a lot about reptilians rule the world, reptilians are the bad guys, reptilians are the elite, reptilians. I get a lot of my information from, like I said, science, okay? So I really like archaeology, and I have a lot of archaeologists that I follow, a lot of the books that I'll read on Atlantis or something like that, it's going to be written on by an archaeologist because I want to see it, you know? So there's I'm going to post this guy's channel on my Patreon as well. And he does a really great job. He's an archaeologist and he talks a lot about weird occult and he shows the evidence. And when you really look back through the archaeological record of who the elite were, you see blonde hair, red hair, green-eyed, blue-eyed, 6-foot tall entities that come from the Caucasus Mountains and have high levels of Rh negative blood, which runs very heavily through the elite, all the way through. Donald Trump has that as well. And they're also connected to not Draco star system. You don't hear any of these people in Persia or anything throughout Mesopotamia or anything like that really talking Babylonia, talking about Draco. What they are talking about are these 4 royal fixed stars, particularly Aldebaran, which is connected to Archangel Michael. And when you really look into the occult connections of Aldebaran, it is connected to the Aryan race. That term comes from the race of beings, of people who traveled from the Caucasus Mountains, that supposedly is the site where Noah landed. And this Rh negative blood kind of came up out of nowhere, and it doesn't really fit into the archaeological record, and people are very confused. So when you see this and you look particularly at Hitler and his dark occult connections and his connections to the Vril Society, which were channels, and they are said to channel these beings from Aldebaran. And you really see this play out in the UFO community. You really do see this elitist mindset, racism, just the fact that people, I don't know, how do I want to say this? If you really look at the facts and you look and see mummies throughout Egypt, mummies throughout Peru, um, all the way through the Celtic Empire, the Druids, all the way back into Scandinavia and places like that, you see that these very, very old mummies that are like 10,000, 11,000 years old, pre deluge civilizations, they tend to be fair skinned. And when you go back in time and you look to see who is, even like King Tut and his mother, those mummies have red hair and blue eyes. All of the Sumerian gods, all of the Egyptian gods, when you look at the way that their colored statues are made, they have blue eyes. So these, the civilizations around them did not. So when you really look to see where these extraterrestrials that they supposedly say came and are the controlling elite factions that are keeping us in dominion, you don't really see any reptilians. Now they do talk about the serpent energy, but I really do think it's more of an esoteric thing. I'm not saying that reptilians don't exist, and I very much do think that they very much might, but what we do have evidence for is this Aryan mindset that has been very prolific through the UFO community. We see this playing out with the QAnon fucking phenomenon. If you read a lot of like old Starseed books, like this right here, The Star People by Brad and Francine Steiger, like it's very much like that. It's very much like we are who came here. We are of a pure race. And when you also look into eugenics and what a lot of these elitists believe and why they are targeting indigenous tribes who have this connection to this wise serpent energy, who really have this connection to Mother Earth and this the wisdom of the serpent, the wisdom of the divine feminine, and not this false light matrix that came down upon us through this like monotheistic light is the only way. And it really closes off the feminine aspect and other things. So we see this play out a lot. And when I say this, it pisses people off, but I ask you to just do a little bit of research. Look into the Vril Society. They were channeling Aldebaran, and that is associated with Archangel Michael. Jesus never talked about archangels or any of this. He only really spoke about the kingdom of God being within, and I really do think that that is about balancing these polarities and opening up that heart space to pure cosmic consciousness, which I really do feel flows through these points of unity with these black holes and all these points in the stars that are us, bringing them all in and not closing anything off. It's just everything is polarized, so it's tapping into them in the right manner. Okay. Oh my God, I do. Okay, so I went off on a tip and I'm sure I pissed people off, but I don't really care. Okay, so let's go to the next one. This is what I think the matrix looks like. Okay, so like I said, we're all reptilians. This is what your brain looks like. Hold on. Of course, I covered up the part that says the thing. Okay, so we have three main parts of our brain. The part that is connected to your pineal gland, to your spinal cord, to your kundalini energy, to your chakra system is the reptilian aspect. From there, we've evolved to develop our mammalian brain and our neocortex, which relates to, oh, I can't read that. Oh my gosh, I don't think you can read that either. Hold on. Okay. So the reptilian brain is known as our dinosaur brain. It's like the oldest part of the human brain. We've all, whether we were genetically modified or these entities came and intermingled with us or whatever may or may not have happened, I don't know. These are just facts that I'm imploring you to question the reality we've been told, because nobody really knows what's going on. Our human vessels here have evolved from other animals, and it started in a reptilian aspect. Our basic primal instinct is located within our reptilian brain, and this is what is connected to our on switch to both the light and the dark, fear and magic. And then we have the limbic system, which is our mammalian brain, which is where our emotions and our feelings and our empathy and compassion and being able to, be human and not an animal comes into play. And then we have our neocortex, is where we're able to, this is what makes humans more advanced than other animals, is because we have that rational, analytical thinking process where we're able to discern and understand. Okay, so let's see what's next. We're gonna get into this other stuff here. So the symbolism of the serpent. Can you guys see this? I don't know if you can see it like that. I'll just have to read it. Okay. So the serpent or snake is one of the oldest and most widespread mythological symbols. Snakes have been associated with some of the oldest rituals known to mankind and represent a dual expression of both good and evil. I don't like that word, for the sake of this, especially when talking about where the shadow can take you, and in this third dimensional reality, it makes sense, but it's just like shadow and light. This serpent aspect of our consciousness has always been both the key to our downfall and our demise, as well as our awakening and our rise. Symbolizing magic, wisdom, and the shadow, this aspect of the self holds all our core wounds and our connection to our creative power, fertility, or creative life force, chi, or prana. It literally guards the gold. It guards our light, the celestial pole, and the way out of the matrix. As snakes shed their skin, they are symbols of rebirth, transformation, immortality, and healing, as well as lower chakra energies like sexual desire and perversions, and as well as kundalini energy, which kundalini energy is just an activation. It is just energy. It can very much be used for dark occult, and it can very much be used for the light. And it is oftentimes inverted for darkness. Jesus said, "Be wise as serpents and gentle as doves." He knew that we needed this to be able to navigate this reality. And he was one of the first or most well-known heretics. And you guys know I love me a heretic. Anybody who challenges the system, and he very much did, which is why he was silenced. Once you transmute the serpent and integrate your shadow, the ascended dragon is awakened within you, and your door out of the matrix opens. Okay, so P.S., the same people who demonize this energy use it for their own ends. They cut you off and invert it for service to self agendas. What will end their reign? Us reclaiming our magic. It literally is the only way to break out of the system of control, and the door to that magic lies within your shadow. You cannot escape it. You either awaken from it or you are consumed by it. It is your choice. And then over here on the side, we have the word Vatican, and then its Latin meaning. So the word Vatican in Latin means divining or like prophesizing serpent. It is derived from the Latin word vatus, meaning diviner, and can, meaning serpent. And Vatican Hill and St. Peter's something or another, I can't pronounce that, were built on ancient pagan sites, which also the names of those sites also break down to mean the serpent. So pretty much the Catholic Church and really Christianity in general, because Jesus wasn't a Christian. It was made later. There are um, many Christian sects who work very heavily with the serpent, like Gnosticism. The Essenes worked with the serpent as well. I'm gonna post a bunch of really cool videos on Patreon for you guys to check out that show a lot of this stuff. But yeah. So that the point I'm making is they know this, okay? If you know anything about the Vatican, you know that they have a secret library where they take everything that they raped and pillaged from all the poor little pagan villages, whether it was the Celts, the Druids, the Mayans, the people of Peru, anywhere the Romans went, they took all that information for themselves, and you best believe they are using it. And that is how they're controlling the world, because they've literally stripped us of our power and changed all the religions into feeding an outside source of light rather than tapping into your own light. And to find that light, you really do have to go into your darkness. It's what's sad. Jesus came to end religion, not start a new one, but Christians don't typically read their Bible. Yeah. The only book of the Bible that I can really get down with is the book of Thomas, and it's because it is a lot of direct teachings from Jesus, and it is also why a lot of it was taken out of the. It's so funny that Christianity, the book that supposedly is word for word what Jesus said, is not part of the Bible. They're like, no, we don't want that one. Not that one. So up here I have a Instagram post from Stephen, Maverick Divination, that he has. I definitely recommend following him. I also recommend following Find Me in the Stars, Sam. Her posts are amazing as well. I was going to add this long thing that she wrote for me in here that's going to be added into my full Starseed report, but it was already so long. So I highly recommend following both of them. They definitely get this, and they have had a lot of these same downloads that I have on their own. And then we found each other and we're like, oh, we're not alone, because I was questioning a lot of this stuff. I'm like, it just doesn't make sense. There's once you really start to study the occult and you study actual ancient history and you just really dive into like the archaeological record and things like that, you have more questions than you have answers, and you start to question a lot of things, and then you be ostracized within the spiritual community because it's so taboo. But you have to understand this new age community is pretty much rampant with evangelicals, and a lot of it is just the church in sheep's clothing. It's the same thing. They knew that realm was dying, and so they just kind of made a whole little like new agey type religion, and it's just a whole nother cult mentality. So this is a mantra. So I want you guys to add this to your journal. This is a mantra for this moon that Stephen channeled. So it reads, a mantra for this alignment. It is my birthright to access and love who I truly am in all directions of time, space, and dimensions. So, like I said, we have this reptilian part of our brain, and if we ignore this, it will eat us alive. And these beings or entities or energies, whatever they may be, that make up this matrix of dark and light, a polarization. I don't know what they are, how they manifest as. Some people call them reptilians or angels or demons or this, whatever it is that is out on the other side of this veil that manifests as these type of archons. um, Wants us to not come into this alignment. Any sort of religious sect that spoke of this was usually demonized, a heretic, and burned at the stake, particularly witches. So witches are the ones who are constantly, they work with the sun, the moon, they travel that middle ground, and they understand that they are both light and dark. Now, a lot with that power comes great responsibility. Many people who practice witchcraft get polarized and turn into service to self paradigm, whether it's abundance spells, love spells, dark magic rituals, whatever it is, that power consumes them. And a lot of us are having past life memories of Atlantis or whatever civilization where maybe we had something to do with this. Maybe we had a little bit to do with the fall of Atlantis. We really need to make sure that we're tapping into this energy properly and not in a service to self paradigm. Because this is why it's so important to manifest along with the moon and where things are and in alignment with you, and not out of alignment. There's a time to manifest abundance. There's a time to manifest love. And there's a time where you should be fucking working on healing yourself and your shadow. And right now, it's time for the shadow. So I'm glad you feel this, because when I say crazy shit, you know, people are like, woo-hoo. I'm like, well, whatever. I don't care. I ain't for everybody. Okay. So now it's time. Actually, we're gonna do the cards first, because I want to add the stuff that comes up from the card reading to our list before we do this last little ritual and call it a night. This was way long, so next time I'm going to have to make this shorter. Let's see, is this too long, guys? Let me know, because you know I can talk a lot. Okay, so everybody should have their journal with them. And I posted earlier about these, like a card reading. So if you saw that post, maybe you already know which crystal is yours. If you didn't, I have a Labradorite and a Garnet, and if they go with the energy of these cards to help you through this energy. So whichever one speaks to you, this camera is so bad. We have a Labradorite. You're not bored at all. This was so good, do you? Okay, cool. It's just because it's late and I am watching the people check out. But after I say crazy thing, I'm like, oh, is it because I said that? But it is what it is. So, which one went with which? Okay, this one went here. Okay, so for those of you who picked the Garnet, these are your cards, and this Garnet will help you really work with this energy. I didn't need to do that. Going with the lab, so pretty. I love that Labradorite. Okay, so the cards that I'm using are from this deck, the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. And then I also pulled from the Starseed deck and the Making Magic, you know, Cosmic Space Witch. I had to do both. So the cards for this deck are Mercury in Aquarius, Originality, Sun in Aries, Assertion, and Mars in Pisces, Escape. So the way of course, it just really plays out with the astrology. Like I had said earlier, we have Uranus really playing off this moon, that Uranus energy of just wanting to break free, be original, be authentic, really do you, and just start something new is really prevalent for these people. So they're really tapping into that originality and that like higher mind. Downloads are coming through, like that guy is like the genius, right? So Uranus is the awakened genius that is just flowing downloads through, but you can't always necessarily ground them into reality. So the um, Garnet is going to help you ground a lot of these activations in and use them to do things here in the tangible physical realm here during Virgo season instead of being very, very, very spacey. We're also might be asked to kind of like break free from some of these ideas as well, because this sign also rules ideals. So while we want what's ideal, sometimes what we think is ideal might not necessarily be ideal. So we might be really working on letting go of some of what we deem as what needs to happen to kind of help the greater good, which is also what Aquarius is about. And what this Pisces Virgo axis is about service. So we have assertion. You see the dude with the dragon, right? So these people are really being asked to put down that sword and not assert themselves. Mars is square Saturn. Mars wants to go and go and go, but we're being asked to stop. And we're being asked to look at that dragon. Look at him. He doesn't look scary. He's like cowering down. He's like, please stop fighting me. I am you. Let's just do this together. Like, it's the only way. You can fly me to the moon. Let's do this. And these people are really being asked to break free with that Uranus energy from what is keeping them from seeing what needs to be addressed within. And then going with the lab, pretty cool. I'm wondering why it says I've only been live for 28 minutes. I'm wondering if I hit a button weird. I hope this is still working good. Let me know if I'm good. And then the final card is escape. So these people are either trying to fight the darkness that's coming up and not putting down the sword and integrating it, or they're trying to escape from it altogether. So there's a different ways to escape. You know, some people are way too much in the spiritual realm. They're too much in the love and light. They're too much in the Piscean meditative spiritual practices and not really putting any of what they've gained out in that astral cosmic realm to use here in the physical. Um, and some people are just straight up trying to bone out, whether that is through drugs or alcohol or Netflix or any sort of Piscean escapism. We're being asked to release these coping mechanisms, the need to just not face it and the need to face it too hard. We're being asked to integrate and find balance in between. And the garnet is really going to help you channel this creative energy and use it here in the physical realm. So that's that pile. We also have the Starseed cards that came out were Starseed. So raise the vibration of the planet through your loving light. So the key word there is your loving light, not the light outside of you, not funneling it or siphoning it through any sort of middleman. I don't work with any deities. I don't work with anybody of any kind. I understand that I am one with all that is. I am source. I am cosmic consciousness. Those stars are me, every single one of them, not just the ones that are aligned with my chart. I am everything. Every single fucking thing is me. So I don't need an angel, a fucking god, a demigod, anything. I don't need anything to get me to that because I have that connection for myself. It just radiates through me and I find it through alignment with astrology. That's what's worked for me. Other people find it other ways. For me, that's what's worked. So the key here is your loving light. So these Pisces moon might also be asking you to release some sort of false light paradigms. False light is there for a reason. Okay. I never got into like archangels or anything like that, but I had to remove myself from a false light system, which was Alcoholics Anonymous. So they have terms in Alcoholics Anonymous that really does a really good job of explaining the false light and the darkness, right? So they say that when you're out there running amok and getting loaded, they call it self-will run riot. Like, oh, you're out there in your self-will run riot and you're just like doing what you want and it's against the will of the higher power, right? And then when you come in, the first step, like, first of all, AA. I know I have some friends who follow me who are still in there, and I know it helped a lot of people, but I see how very cult-like it is, especially once I started studying actual cults and like secret societies and things like that and brainwashing tactics. I was like, oh my God, that's so very similar to Alcoholics Anonymous. But once you get in, they have you give your will and your life over to the care of God as you understand him as a higher power. And it has to be given away because you do not have the power to be able to control your fucking self. So they either have self-will run riot or give your will over to some fucking false entity. And they literally don't even care if you give it away to the doorknob. They're like, anything else, you know what I mean? Hold on. And that is the false light paradigm of giving your will over to an external source or being so far in your shadow that you're in that reptilian aspect and your self will run riot. The goal is to co-create with the cosmos where you are one with all that is. You are co-creating in alignment with what is in alignment for you at this time, which also deals with purging and healing and releasing and in cyclical healing fashion. So I went off on a tip there, but anyway. The other cards are celebrations. So celebrate your achievements. You truly are a gift to the universe. So like I said, this moon is a culmination, and it's a culmination of stuff that you've been working on over the past 6 months since Pisces season. You're having some sort of big revelation, some sort of reward. Yes, you're being asked to purge and heal some Pisces shit, but look back on how far you've come over the past 6 months. Like, we've all been through a lot, and I have like see things so much differently now, and I'm sure you do too. So make sure that you write down some stuff on that list that you're working on of things that you've accomplished so you can see how far you've come. And then I pulled a sigil. So these people, remember, are either fighting too hard or escaping, and they really need to find the middle ground and stay kind of like on target. It's easy to give up right now when Saturn keeps making us pump our brakes pump our Mars brakes right now. It's getting frustrating, but we need to know that it's so that we're building the proper foundation and what we are creating right now is accurate. So this sigil is called On Target, and it will help you follow your ideal path. Ideal path. This is so hard to do. Ideal path. Ideal path forward. Okay. And then for the Labradorite people, these people are all in their shadow. They know what this is about. The cards that I have here are intuition. Let me just go through this card first. So when I looked at this card, when I pulled these to try to pick the crystals, what stood out to me, this is Mercury in Cancer and it's intuition. And I'm going to show it to you in a second, but the card is split down the middle. And on one side, we literally have a sigil that symbolizes the Archangel Gabriel, and others. I can't really read those words, but these are Archangel sigils on one side. And then on the other side, we have stars in the sky, a meditating guy who looks super in tune with cosmic consciousness. And then at the bottom, there's like this squiggly thing. that has like one star connected to another. And what I see is that we are being asked to tap more into ourselves and our own magic, move out of this false light paradigm, and really start to like tap into this for ourselves, reclaiming all of our different aspects through all of the different consciousness that we funnel through all the different star systems, and really connecting back to source ourselves and know that it is us. You see how this is all connected? It's the same thing. We're all energy, frequency, and vibration, and it just all is us. It's just really, it's simple. It I People make it more complicated than it needs to be. I'm gonna try. This one was a little off the tip because I had a lot of these Draco downloads come through. But these videos I really want to try to make simple. I'm going to have the slides. We're going to look at your chart. We're going to be like, this and this, we need to do this. I'm not going to try to overcomplicate it too much. We're just going to try to get into flow and in alignment. And really what I have to do is always bring it back around to as above, so below. So you guys are going to hear me say that a lot because it's all that makes sense to me. So these people are being asked to tap into themselves, and to do that they have to siphon through a lot of false beliefs and illusions. And this um, Pisces moon is asking us to purge a lot of these spiritual illusions, okay? And we have plenty of them that we have to remove in layers. And those false light paradigms, oh, this is where I was going earlier. These false light paradigms are there for a reason. They're there when you can't find your own light. The darkness is there for that same reason, and it throws you so deep into the darkness that you have to find your own light to make your way out. And that's hard. But what's fucking harder is pulling yourself away from a bright, blinding light and turning to the darkness to then dive in and integrate it. Getting out is easier, you know? So some people are being asked to really purge a lot of those false comforts and false saviors and false matrix systems, and just realizing that the kingdom is within you, and the true unity is balancing your polarities. We are duality, okay? And when we realize this, that is when we truly can co-create and not be victims to these archons, which is what these planets are. You know what I mean? They do control the matrix. They do. And if you're not working with them, they will control your life. Saturn will come and fuck shit up, and so will Pluto and all kinds of stuff. However, once you start to get into alignment with this energy and alignment within yourself, you get to co-create with them. And then it's lessons and upgrades, and it's different energy. So that's one of the reasons why astrology has been used by all the elitists, but made fun of for so long, because I really do feel it holds the answers. I also think it has a lot to do with why so much light pollution, so we can't even see the stars. We just feel so disconnected. But the other cards are organization. So this is Mercury in Capricorn, but I really see it more as the Virgo energy. And they're even holding like wheat right there. And Virgo is the season of like harvest and really the earth and reaping what we sow and all of that. So I really feel that we're tapping into our intuition and our shadow. This is the moon in Scorpio, so that we can come into balance between our male and our female, go through the portal to alignment, so that we can use this Virgo energy in 2 weeks to plan the path forward after we've reclaimed some magic and used our intuition to know the next steps to guide us there. So where am I got 3 cards left, and then we're going to go into this last little ritual, guys. So these cards are live your truth and share the love that's in your soul. So Pisces is also Neptune, right? Neptune is that like high octave of Venus. It's the love, it's the sympathy, it's empathy, it's compassion. So while we're being asked to purge negative or challenging Piscean manifestations, we're also having a culmination of this Piscean energy. And it's really a great time to tap in and channel a lot of these like cosmic loving activations into the earth through Virgo season. We're really here to be of service to people here, right? So the way to do that is through love. And we have magnificent. So you are amazing, magnificent, and unique. But most importantly, you are enough. So this is a reminder for all of those who are very much in that Virgo mindset, which I tend to snap into a lot of perfectionism or obsession, or just, you know, a lot of us tend to just like, I won't even do it if I think I can't do it perfect. I posted something about that the other day. This is just a reminder that, again, look back at how far you've come over the past 6 months since the start of lockdown. Like, I know you've grown. You are magnificent and you are enough and you've done so much and you are doing fabulous with some really hard terrain that we're all trying to navigate right now. And the fact that you are in this live at 11 o'clock at night, and that's what time it is here. I don't even know what time it is where you live. You're trying to do the damn thing. We all are. We're just trying to be of service and show up and try to figure it out and question our reality. And the last card is the Tree of Life. So true wisdom and making good choices in life. So this is really help you tap into the wisdom that the dragon holds. The true wisdom lies within your darkness, within your shadow, within understanding yourself. If you don't understand yourself, first of all, if you haven't dove into your shadow and really come to terms with who you are as a person, as a soul, as a lineage, as a fucking being, there's no way that you can make good choices in life. There's no way that you can truly be of service if you don't even know who you are. So this sigil, this is so hard to do. This sigil will help you tap into the wisdom that your shadow holds. Okay, and again, the Labradorite is there to help you navigate the shadow while staying protective and really discerning fact from fiction within all this like Neptunian chaos. All right, so everybody should have a long list of a whole bunch of shit that came to mind through all of that. We're going to go into the slides now. Doing pretty good with these slides, guys. I'm pretty proud of myself. I'm like not good with technology, but I nailed it. Okay, so we are going to work on a ritual to find a balance. So on that spare piece of paper, I want you to draw a symbol that represents balance to you. So this could be like a little sun and moon, a Libra symbol. I'm a Libra. I probably would do a Libra symbol. Yin yang, maybe somebody walking on a tightrope, or you could channel some sort of sigil, whatever it is that came to mind when I say balance, whatever you think that that might be, I want you to draw that. All right. After you've drawn what that symbol looks like in its balanced form, I want you to draw that symbol again, but I want you to depict it in the level in the level of balance that you think you have right now. So if you feel like you're a little off, I want you to draw it like that. Okay. Once you've done that, we are going to look through that list of all the stuff that came up for you during this whole discussion. And you're going to look through and you're going to identify the factors that contribute to your sense of balance or your sense of imbalance. And then you're going to add these as words or pictures to your drawing. So, for example, like I might do this. You guys go ahead and start working on that, and I'm going to show you. What the heck? Where'd that thing go? Oh, I'll just do this. So I might do like a Libra symbol in the middle. And then for the things that bring balance, I might write that like down the middle. Okay, well, let's see. Let's do one that's not balanced. It's really bad. But you guys get the point. I'm trying to do this simple so that it doesn't take too long. But let's say that I have like a Libra symbol that's like off-centered. And then down the middle through here, maybe I'll list things that help bring me balance, you know, astrology, crystals, ritual baths, you know, crafting, having creative outlet, all the different things, yoga, meditation, whatever it is that helps bring balance within your life. Maybe you write it in the middle. And then maybe over here, the stuff that is imbalanced, like what it is that you need to release, you might write on the side that is imbalanced. Or maybe if you drew somebody walking like a tightrope, maybe you can add like pole into the picture and that balances it, and that could be like labeled yoga or something like that. If you want to do a drawing, you could just write words over it, but you're going to write what needs balance, what brings balance. Okay. Anybody have any questions? We good? Okay, so we're going to go to the next one. So what brings you balance? What are you lacking? Do you have time for creativity, organization, motivation, time with others, time with yourself? Where does shadow work fall on this spectrum? What about time for creative expression? Do you have time for meditation, spirituality? What about the mundane muggle shit that we all have to take care of? I need to fit that into here more. I'm way too in the cosmic realm that I do forget about. I just hate muggle stuff. It's torture for me. So that is definitely my side of imbalance. So don't worry if you feel out of balance right now. This is a tug of war of energy that this full moon brings, and it triggers us into creating this balance. So we're feeling this right now. Balance is an illusion. Life is nearly always in a state of imbalance. We gain it and then we lose it. This is how we grow and evolve. Throwing yourself off balance is the only way to keep moving, to keep growing. This is a lifelong journey, and growth is cyclical. Now, on the spare piece of paper, I want you to write down everything you are ready to release in order for this balance to come into fruition. And then when you're ready, we're going to set it on fire. So if you wanted to do this with water instead, after you do this on the paper, you could hold the water and you could read out loud or visualize it to the physical water and imprint it with that list. And then you could go outside and release it out into the earth, which is perfect because it works with the element of water and the element of earth with Virgo. But I like to burn things. So I am definitely going to be setting that on fire. So I'm not going to do that here for the sake of time, but you guys go ahead and continue with that. And I think this is my last slide, actually. Oh, yeah, we're done. So that's it. Hold on, let me do this really quick. Oh, no, hide. Oops. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to do an IGTV tomorrow where I'm going to do the giveaway. And the way I think I'm going to do it is I have like a bunch of t-shirts. I have these ones that my boyfriend made all my t-shirts. He designed them and made all of them in our garage. But this is one of his designs for his clothing line, The Difference. And he also has like Invasion of the Difference, but it's like spelled difference, like making a difference. And I have a lot of these, and then I also have some cosmic ones and some cosmic space witch ones. So I'm going to do a big drawing tomorrow with the names of everybody who's signed up, and I'm going to pull one big winner who is going to get the t-shirt, the talisman, and that Cosmic Alliance session. And then I'm going to pull a couple more for the talisman that I have. But then everybody else, I think I'm just going to send a teacher to. So if you would like that, I need you to email me your address, because I forgot to add that into the Patreon sign up section. When you sign up, it's only for the 55 tier and over whom I will be mailing things to. So for the lower tiers, I don't have any addresses. So if you want to be entered into the giveaway, and make sure that you get something, you'll all be entered into it for the talisman and the big giveaway. But for the extra ones, I'm only going to send those to the people who send me an email. The names will be in for the main giveaway, and I will message that person who wins. So I'm going to do that tomorrow. And I'm also going to post tomorrow the schedule for the rest of the videos this month. And I just want to thank everybody for traveling this journey with me. I want to thank everybody who's been with me since the beginning, since I started my page through Soul. I did mention this a little bit in one of the lives that didn't save, but Stephanie and I know if you guys have followed me for a while, you know that we had Shades of Light Syndicate, and it was great while it lasted, but our missions have just taken us in two different directions. Stephanie has decided to start working on a lavender farm up north with much of her time. She also wants to focus more on creating courses and not so much on live video, and I really feel like live video I'm more comfortable at. My Virgo perfectionism comes into play a lot when I have to try to make edited videos. I like obsess over them. The one I made the other day that was just like an IGTV that like wasn't live, I don't know, I had so much anxiety. It's just not for me. So her making that decision really made me realize this is where I'm comfortable. And so our missions have gone in two different directions, and we have ended Soul. But I think it is for the best. And I really do think that we'll be more in our own element. And it got us to this point. We were able to have honed over this length of time. So I appreciate everybody who has supported us through all of our different ventures. And, not everything we've tried a couple of different things, and I really do feel like this Patreon is ideal for me. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. I'm going to be posting link to like the Dark Crystal, probably is like I think it's on Netflix. I don't know if you can post Netflix links, but the IMDb, I want you guys to watch that. And then also like I watch all kinds of weird things. I'm watching this thing right now about like wizards, and it's super rad, and if it ends rad, I'm gonna post it for you guys too. And yeah, we're just gonna talk about all kinds of weird things. The first rabbit hole is gonna be about me and my awakening in my life. The second one is gonna be about Trump, and we are gonna dive deep into his connections to the Rothschilds and all kinds of fabulous shit that most conspiracy theorists don't talk about because they are polarized and they lean very far right. And you guys know me, I criticize everybody. So yeah, I'm super censored on Instagram. If you guys haven't turned on post notifications, please make sure you do, because they don't show my posts to people anymore, like at all. At all. The hashtags, not at all. So I'm glad that I started this platform, because this was nice and it doesn't seem to be censored. And I appreciate you guys so much. And we know my stuff's a little weird, and it certainly isn't for everybody. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Kelly is going to be starting a Discord for us for Patreon, where we're going to have a little chatting community, and she's really helping me out. If you guys have any questions, make sure you follow her online. Her page is Mercury Landing. Kelly, can you tag your handles, how to spell them, in the chat? But Mercury Landing is her new astrology page, and right now she's having a special up until I think it's the 7th, Kelly? I think until the 7th, where she's giving away free sessions of astrology, tarot, Reiki, because she just launched her new page, Mercury X Landing, and her personal page is Phoenix something. But yes, please make sure you follow her. She's being just so helpful and helping me really monitor the chat. Right now, it's not so big of a deal, but I want somebody in there to be able to make sure that everything is like loving and that we have a safe community. And yeah, so if you can ever get a hold of me, ask Kelly. And I love you guys. I appreciate you so much. This was fun. We're going to have a video every week. It's going to be, if you are in the $33 tier, you'll have a video every single week, an astrology video, a full moon video, a new moon video, and a rabbit hole video. And yeah, it's going to be different days of the week whenever it fits in around the moons and makes sense. But I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. And I hope this saves. I'm in some weird software program, but I think I figured out how to do it, guys. So have a good night. Happy full moon. Make sure you set that shit on fire or go release it into the earth. Close up your circle that we casted in the beginning. Maybe burn a little incense or rosemary, but definitely make sure that you close the circle once we are closed from here. And seal yourself up, and we're golden. And I will see you soon. And then the new moon, we're going to be manifesting some stuff. It's going to be good. Appreciate you. Bye, guys. How do I stop this?